for the first time out of all the treatments I had done, I had started to feel, and I wouldn't say myself like completely, but I started to have, I don't know, like a vision, or I started to feel like, okay, we're making, there's some progress. Something is changing here. And I wasn't sure at pinpoint. I mean, there was a lot of things like energy. Like there was motivation that I felt like I didn't have. Like, I don't know, I had given up and I had kind of already accepted that the new norm was living with chronic illness. But there was something that gave me, I was like, wow, I felt motivated to like want to learn, to want to start driving again, and started thinking about like, wow, like I wonder what the waves are like, and that's sort of, I'm looking at the surf cams and started to reach out to people more. And that was just like a change where I just don't know what it was. And I know it was part of like the plant-based treatment that we had started and your protocol, that it definitely made me, I don't know, there was this change that it's like, I just, like I said, something else was happening where I was starting to be like, there is life beyond illness. And that had to be from what the plans, what I was taking, what my protocol was doing. And it was very emotional for me. I mean, I remember just crying. I mean, just thinking about it now it's very difficult, because when you've been sick for that many years, and when you start to think about, oh wow, there is part of you still there. And when that happened, that was a huge turning point for me. And just to see that, yeah, there is life beyond this illness. And I felt like I didn't identify as just being sick at that point. And there was going to be hope. There was hope for me. And I really thank you for that. And that's where I feel like, yeah, that was the real turning point. So, yeah.
BioNexus Health Podcast, where we explore and share information and stories about recovering and healing from chronic and environmental illnesses such as mold biotoxin illness, Lyme disease, autism spectrum disorder, fatigue, Crohn's and colitis, mast cell activation syndrome, PANS, and more. Please help us grow our message by subscribing to our podcast channel and sharing the podcast on your social networks. For more information, visit bionexushealth.com.
Information within this video, audio, or text, collectively known as the podcast, has not been reviewed by the FDA. Nothing within the podcast is intended as or should be construed as medical advice. Information is for general informational and educational purposes only. Consumers of the podcast should consult with their healthcare practitioners for medical recommendations. Seek the advice of a qualified healthcare provider. Do not disregard the advice of a healthcare provider based on any information from the podcast. The information within the podcast may contain information concerning dietary supplements or over-the-counter products that are not drugs. Our dietary supplement products are not intended for use as a means to cure, treat, prevent, diagnose, or mitigate any disease or other medical or abnormal condition.